Today we'll be doing quite a number of discussions, bordering around the death of Deborah Samuel that was lynched sometime last week. Well, this show is a live show, and we'll be opening the phone lines at 6:30. You can call in to make your comments and your contributions to the show and the discourse today. You can also drop your comments on our Facebook page, Ekwa TV Africa. You can also, in any other way you can reach us. The phone numbers will be beamed on the screen at the time the phone lines are open, and then we want to hear your comments and contribution. Last Thursday was a Black Thursday for us in Nigeria, as the news of the death of Deborah was all over the social media, on the news. How she was lynched, she was stoned and finally burnt alive, because she was acclaimed or alleged to have blasphemed the Prophet Muhammad. Well, we'll be looking at the legality or illegality of, the mob action that was taken against her so-called sin, against the Islamic faith. And with me on the show this evening to do this discussion is Barrister Ahile Stephen, who is a legal practitioner in Plateau State. You're welcome, sir.
Good evening, viewers. Thank you very much.
And we also have Barrister Matthew Godfrey, who is also joining us on the show this evening. You're welcome.
Listeners, my pleasure being here.
Okay. A lot of people have made a lot of comments since last week Thursday these incidents happened. It's been a really disheartening situation, and people have aired their views on social media, on television, and have made comments. And like we said, we'll be discussing the legality or illegality of this crime that has been committed. Barrister Ahile, considering the issue of the alleged crime she committed of blasphemy, is that provided for in our constitution, on any of our laws that's governing the whole country, as governing us as a country in Nigeria?
Yeah, thank you very much. Let me start by saying that the constitution is not a penal law, so it does not make provision for crimes.
Okay.
It does not make provision for offenses. We have penal laws. In some years ago, we have the Penal Code of Northern Nigeria that regulated the present 19 states of the North and Abuja. Presently, most of the states have their own penal laws that are peculiar to those states. In substance, most of them are the same, but there are some little variations in some places. The old penal code of Northern Nigeria did not make any provision for blasphemy as a crime or as an offense. Let me also say this before we proceed, that sins are different from crimes.
Okay.
Sins, as we have, as recorded in the Bible, are different from crimes. And a crime is what the state say is a crime and prescribe a punishment for it.
Okay.
Anything that is not clearly spelled out in a written law and there is a punishment for contravention, anything that is outside of that is not a crime. It's not recognized as a crime.
Okay.
Now, coming down to the issue of blasphemy. Blasphemy is not found in the General Penal Code. It is a crime in the Sharia Penal Code, which is not common to all the states of the North. For instance, the Plateau State does not have a Sharia Penal Code. It's not known as a law in Plateau State. In Sokoto State, they have the Sharia Penal Code. It's operating there. And that penal code makes provision for the offense of blasphemy. Now, let me also say that the judicial powers are provided for in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended. It makes provision for the courts that are established by the Constitution.
Okay.
It now also makes provision for states to establish courts the way they want. Those courts are established by laws of the various state houses of assembly.
Okay.
And they try, then the Constitution make that provision for states to make laws so long as those, to establish courts, so long as those courts are subject to the jurisdiction of the High Court.
Okay.
That is to say, if a state establish any court, be it a Sharia court or any other court, for those states who want to establish Sharia courts, they can establish Sharia courts that will try offenses emanating from or provided for by the Sharia Penal Code.
Okay.
But those states will have to be under the jurisdiction of the High Court.
Okay.
They cannot be at par with the High Court or above the High Court.
Okay.
By the way, the Constitution also make provision for Sharia Court of Appeal. So that the Sharia Court of Appeal is of coordinate jurisdiction with the High Court. It has the same, it is at par with the High Court.
Okay.
So those are appeals from courts, Sharia courts established by the states houses of assembly in states where they are implementing Sharia are subject either to the High Court or to the Sharia Court of Appeal.
Okay.
So to that extent, they have the liberty to implement that.
Okay.
However, when it comes to the Sharia Penal Code or the Sharia legal system, the intendment is to be that it will be for those who are Islamic faithfuls, not to have a general application for everybody.
Okay. Okay. So, Barrister Matthew, I'll pick up from there. So, from what he said, it says the Sharia law is only applicable to adherents of Islam. So, will you have said that even if it was the alleged crime was committed, would Deborah have been charged for blasphemy under the Sharia law?
There is Sharia law applies two principles.
Okay.
It has territorial application.
Okay.
And it has the party application. The party application appears to all Muslim faithful.
Okay.
The territorial, according to their postulation, appear where a particular state professes Islam, and once you commit an offense that violates Islam, you, whether you are a foreigner or you are a non-believer in Muslim faith, Islamic faith, you will be tried according to that sect. But before that, they will give you an option of a legal representation.
Okay.
Now, certain offenses, especially offenses that has to do like zina, which is adultery, the one that has to do with kisa, which is murder, then the one that has to do with blasphemy, which is term of one of the highest. Anytime you do that, they have forces that they have special forces that are regulated to enforce, to arrest, and to prosecute those people.
Okay.
So if you commit a crime in that regard, you can be arrested. They have a special forces called Hisba. They can try you. But if they find out that, ideally, if they find out that you do it out of ignorance, you don't know about these things, sometimes they excuse the mens rea. The problem is lack of orientation on my part, whereby many adherents don't understand the tenets of the faith. They've been misguided by people that say, if anything happens, you just kill. If really Deborah made that statement in error, or she made that statement whatever capacity, the people that arrested or beat her or kill her, they are not Islamically, let me use the language, qualified to arrest her in a view of Islamic law. We have the special people that will do that. It is their duty to even arrest them, and that is what failed to play out in this scenario.
Okay. Still on you, Barrister Matthew. So does our laws provide for self-help or extrajudicial killings, or people taking laws into their hands and just taking action? Like in this case, we saw that she was not reported, she was not given opportunity to be heard, that okay, I was the one that actually sent the voice note that they said was blasphemous. So does our law allow for that even in the 21st century?
Extrajudicial killing, mob action or mob justice are prohibited. I think Lagos State recently passed a law, I think whether 2020 or 2019, prohibiting that.
Okay.
There is no way that an individual can commit a crime and then you will now descend on it on mob justice or jungle justice. You can't do that, because the community, the mob, are not the custodian of the law, the promoters of the law, or the protectors of the law. The best thing they can do is to report a person to civil authorities, or maybe to arrest that person and hand him over to civil authority, not to execute. The issue of self-help here, the Constitution only allows for self-help in limited instances where you exercise self-defense. But self-help is outrightly prohibited under Nigerian law. It is usurpation of the role of states. It is the state that has the monopoly of the use of force. So when an individual attributed or group attributed that virtue to themselves by using force to enforce their rights without following due process, that on its own is a crime that will be punishable by certain legal sanctions. So these are the things that you will look at whenever you are talking about mob justice and self-help within the context of Nigeria. Why is it called mob justice? When you mob is a negative prefix to qualify the word phrase justice. So why can't you say justice? Why can't you say public justice? We have phrases like public justice, public interest, but it's not public interest. Sociologically, they will tell you that there's a difference between group and crowd, or group and mob. I remember that topic while in the college. Group are people that are deemed to have the same common purpose and good intention, goal-oriented,
and organized
settings. But crowd and mob, everybody we just made out of hysteria. We do whatever we want to do. So that's why the law says mob justice. The people are not rational in what they are doing. They are highly subjective to such an extent that they are enforcing what they call justice, and the law is against it. Self-help is really replacing individualism over collectivism. Why we say states should enforce the law is because we believe that in social contract we see state as a custodian of our collective heritage, not you as an individual. So when you imbibe in self-help, you are going against the norms and values of the society. So that's why these two phrases, self-help and mob justice, are not welcome.
Okay, thank you very much. Barrister Ahili, from what we saw, would we say that the police and the state were in this case, the case of Deborah, were able to carry out their responsibility as provided for under the Nigerian Constitution to protect lives and property? Would we say that Deborah's life was actually protected? As we saw at the end of the day, she was murdered. And in fact, this act was carried out within the school compound. So it was within the confine, it was a confined and a legal environment she was in. She was not just in one angwa or one environment that people, probably the police would hardly be able to trace her or whatever, or security force or law enforcement agents would have been able to see how they could protect her.
Well, before that, let me add this to what we have said so far.
Okay.
We had discussed the issue of right to life on this program before, as provided under Section 33 of the Constitution. And this right to life has some exceptions. The first one is even embedded in the body of that provision of right to life. It says that everybody has a right to life, save in the execution of the sentence of a court of competent jurisdiction. So that's even embedded in the body of the provision. That's to say, if a court tries somebody and there is a procedure provided for trial in the same constitution,
Yes.
it talks about fair hearing, being informed of what offense you are standing trial, and being given the facility, time and facility to get legal representation if you want to, and all of that. In fact, in most cases where a person is standing trial for an offense that carries life sentence,
Yes.
even if he does not have the funds, the wherewithal to hire a lawyer, the state provides for him or her, so that he is not tried without legal representation. So for whatever it is, in Nigeria, it is not contemplated that anybody should be killed for committing an offense unless and until the person has been tried under the due process of law and found guilty and sentenced. Then the life can be taken. It is only then that a life can be taken, and not just in the way it was done in the case of Deborah. Now, coming to the issue of police according her protection, I do not have the full details of what transpired and whether the police were nearby to have rescued her. I do not have those details, and so it would be unfair for me to say the police did not do what they should have done. But the unfortunate thing is that this happened on the campus of a tertiary institution.
Very true.
It is taken for granted, or I take it for granted, that those who carried out this heinous act, this disgraceful act, this primitive act, are maybe undergraduates, maybe people who are studying the campus of a college of education.
Yes.
The least you will expect of them is that those students are studying to get a national certificate of education, where they will go and be teachers and be teaching our children. So these are the crop of people that executed this. It is very, very unfortunate that in this 21st century, that kind of thing can happen on the campus of a tertiary institution of Nigeria. So if these people who are preparing to be teachers to go and teach children have this kind of mentality, then it gives you an idea of how bleak the future of Nigeria is.
That's very true. That's very true. Barrister Matthew, now we have known that certain persons have committed a crime by, taking a life of another person, who by law is supposed to prosecute these persons.
Thank you for that question. When Ahile was talking, one thing that came to my mind was that Deborah was murdered in her legitimate place of abode. That is where she resided as a student.
Yes.
She made that statement, according to them, within the circumference of student fellowship, student community. Now, people that were invited to come into that talks, to come into that university, were not students. Some students equally joined in participating. And now I ask myself, does that school have student union government? If so, does that school also have vigilantes or community brigades or whatever they are calling them? Does that school have them? Also, virtually every federal institution in Nigeria, state and federal institutions, especially educational institutions, they used to have security personnel resident within that community, so that there should be collaboration. If this thing happens maybe in Bini, or maybe if it happens in Calabar, that it is an occult group, cultism, that came to kill a lady the student will galvanize themselves in the spirit of Aluta and chase these people. But what are we seeing here? It means that we rationalize killing in religion. We give it an exception as a more sanctified sin than killing by cultism. That's what transpired in this lady's case. Talking about who to prosecute, before going into that, you look at also the body language in the designation of the prosecution. Nigerians lost confidence in that. When you say this lady was killed, you are charging for incitement of public peace. The day she was killed, was there any incitement of public peace? If there was incitement of public peace from the content of the charge, the victim might have caused the public peace, or the perpetrators of the crime. Did they cause public peace by attacking Deborah? No. It's simple murder. The charge should not be restricted to public peace. Let me tell you, one of the elements of public peace is that you must be able to affect public order and decency. That's why one of the functions of the police is to promote public order. The day they will kill Deborah, was there any problem that affected the whole of Sokoto that led to Deborah's killing? No, they came out intentionally. Somebody came out over the screen, the television, social media, showing that by killing Deborah is his devotion to his God. So there's nothing more, or there's nothing breach of public peace. So that charge that was framed is not adequate, does not reflect the justice of the case of Deborah. Let me tell you one thing. The people that ought to prosecute them, Nigeria is a land that is full of irony. We have people that are languishing in jail, looking for who to save them, who to stand for them, for being jailed for doing a virtuous act. We don't have lawyers
to stand
for them pro bono. But we have people who we perceive in our own sentiment and subjectivity that they are representing our interests, that we are now even trafficking the courts with a long list of appearances that we are appearing to defend them. There's one thing Christians and Muslims should tell themselves the truth. Crime and sin has no variation, has no coloration. It will attack a Christian, the same Christian that you are discriminating against. You will be the same person, Muslim, you will be the same victim. When Boko Haram started, we rationalize with them, we bring all theories, religious, secular. Today, Muslims are suffering, Christians are suffering.
That's true.
When banditry started, Christians are suffering, Muslims are suffering. Let me tell you, why we are seeing this is not only because Deborah is Christian. A time is coming that a Muslim lady will be lynched by her would-be lover who may have toasted her, or who may have made an advance or proposition to her, and she declined. All he needs to do is to say that she abused, she blasphemed. What is the ingredient of blasphemy? If you even check, you must bring a witness. One thing people don't know is that Islamic religion has a correlativity with the Abrahamic religion of Jews. The Jews in Judaism, the part of the Bible that say witness you can only establish a case in the presence of two witnesses. Even in the case of blasphemy that Moses was asking people to stone certain persons for blasphemy or doing things that are wrong, there must be a witness. And once you say a witness is involved in anything, it means that there's a implication for fair hearing, because you must bring another person that say, heard me. So what are we talking about this thing? Prosecution of this case. This case, I protest personally. I am not happy with the Sokoto state government prosecuting it, because the nature of the charge itself is subjective, does not portray the prospect of justice for Deborah. Ask yourself, you are suing this view for breach of peace. How will breach of peace serve the end of justice to Deborah, who is dead, to her parent? You are not talking of anything to do maybe in terms of restorative justice to her family. This is a lady with a prospect.
That's true.
She has let's say she has maybe 70, 80 years, 50 years to contribute to this nation vibrantly, and during the subsistence of those years, she is expected to earn some income to raise other members of the family as a breadwinner of the family. You're not talking about the earning loss of her prospective life. All you need to do is to, quote and unquote, conduct a kangaroo trial for these people. It's not supposed to be. And the trial is magistrate. These are not issues. If we have a correct justice system in Nigeria, this matter should be taken over. Because the attitudes and the comment of the Sokoto state government does not really show that the body language that these people, breach of peace is not what killed Deborah.
That's true.
It was after the killing of Deborah, those people that went and were burning Igbo people's shop, were attacking Catholic church, were attacking Ekwa church. These are the people that should be charged and tried for breach of public peace. We had it here in Jos during the palliative. We went and represented people. They went there, they arrested them for breach of public peace. We say yes, looting palliative is a breach of public peace. We agree with government to a certain extent, but nobody that should kill, and you will now include him in the son, among the sons of those that committed offense that are insignificant, so that you can go and be telling people that you cannot find them, you are declaring them wanted. All these don't matter. Nigerians want to know the justice. And let me tell you one thing. I'm saying this. The death of Deborah will bring about a lot of revival in Nigerian judicial and political system. Religious, judicial, and political system. We are now seeing the political language.
That's true.
Atiku came. Immediately on his Twitter, it was condemned. People came from his faith, Muslims, saying that they cannot get his vote. He deleted it. And then now, what happened is that other people are now saying, oh, so it means this is what you are? So you cannot be secular. You can still share the sentiment of your religion, despite the fact that the #1 Muslim citizen in Nigeria, the Sultan, condemned it. But you as a politician, you want to appease people. It created a division. He sacked his Twitter. Now, we see the commissioner in Bauchi that was saying that defending the execution, the judicial killing of Deborah, and even using a trending phrase that if you don't like her, you can go and hug the transformer if you don't like this, from a commissioner in the state. We're having a son of IGP, who is a military officer, saying that it is right to do so. We should come to a certain stage in this country and tell ourselves the truth. Do we want to follow the law, or do we want to pretend that we are following the law?
Thank you very much. Barrister Ahile, looking at the news is saying 2 persons have been arrested, and like you were saying, the charges against those 2 persons is breach of public peace. Will we say only 2 persons carried out this heinous crime, knowing that it was all over the social media, the videos, and people, different people, those who were stoned, those that were shouting and encouraging the act, were all there, and most of the faces were not masked. Their faces were shown in that video. Will we say that the police has arrested every person who is in connection with this crime, and what should be done?
Well, let me first of all say that it is very, very unfortunate that we are very hypocritical in this country. The hypocrisy is too much. And it's unfortunate that people do things just for the sake of saving face. Like that charge, to my mind, is just a face-saving charge, instead of just turning a blind eye to the whole thing, because it has attracted international condemnation, it has attracted national condemnation. They now want to save face and show that they didn't let it go like that. On the issue of the arrests, that is where the police will be indicted. This is something that happened. Some of these people, like some are even on social media, saying it is in defense of their faith. It is a religious duty they are doing. So does it mean those people who are making those kind of videos and posting on the social media cannot be found by the police? They are not hiding it. They are actually coming out to say boldly that what they have done is service to their God. And then such people cannot be arrested. That is where the police have failed, and not in the protecting of Deborah, as you had asked me earlier. Then the issue of the charge is just a face-saving charge. Instead of framing a charge of culpable homicide punishable with death, that will be tried by the High Court, and if these people are found guilty, they will be sentenced to death. They will be convicted and sentenced to death. They now frame a charge of disturbance of public peace, so that they will be tried in the magistrate, and even if found guilty, given a mild sentence. Because for the offense of culpable homicide or murder, once you are found guilty, you cannot reduce the conviction. The sentence is death and nothing or nothing less. So as to escape that, and instead of just letting them go because it has attracted wide condemnation, it is better to show that they are doing something when in the real sense they are not doing anything. So that is the unfortunate thing. But like Barrister Matthew said earlier, when people plant evil, they never can tell when the evil will get up and swallow them. So all the people who are looking away do not know when those kind of evils will swallow them up. Because I don't know the veracity of this, but it has been said that those people behind this had toasted Deborah before. They wanted to befriend her before, and she was not interested. So they decided to frame her up and then bring this kind of thing. So if we allow this kind of jungle justice to thrive, and people will, somebody will simply defend and say that is service to his God, then one day it will also be service to another person's God, or the God of the same person, that you are killed in a mob action for something you are completely innocent.
That's true. That's true. Whatever goes around comes around.
Comes around. So the best thing, like we said earlier, would have been to, if Deborah has committed blasphemy, try her. There is a procedure for trial. There are people who are trained to be judges who hear cases, and then you try her. If you want, bring the best lawyers to prosecute her, and then she is found guilty and sentenced. That to be a different plan altogether. But to do this kind of thing, it is a very unfortunate thing that we should not allow to continue.
Thank you very much. We will go on a short break now. When we return, the phone lines will be open. The phone numbers will be beamed on the screen, and then you can call in to make your comments and contributions. Don't forget, you can also drop your comments on our Facebook page. We'll go on a short break. We'll be right back. Okay. Hello. We're back on the lifeline. We've been discussing justice for Deborah, and with me in the studio has been Barrister Matthew Godfrey and Barrister Stephen Ahile. So, like we were discussing earlier, the issue of the prosecution of the perpetrators of this crime, and the framing of the charge, which is, breach of public peace. So what will you say is the way forward? Because this crime of blasphemy and then the leeching of many people on this allegation has been on for a while in Nigeria. So what will you say will be what will you say justice has actually been done, and this trend stopped? If this is not done, this trend will continue. So, sorry, Barrister Matthew, what will you say you are expecting that the Nigerian government will do to see that this issue is brought to an end? It is one too many.
Let me tell you one thing. One of the best way to deal with this issue is the strict application of the principle of secularism.
Okay.
Once anybody uses religion as a guise to perpetrate crime, we are not concerned with sin. The state is not concerned with sin. They leave the concept of sin within the precinct of your religious belief.
Yes.
But state is concerned with crime. If anybody commits crime in the name of religion, let him be dealt with squarely. We've condoned this thing over a decade, and that's where we are going there. In 1950s, it happened. A prominent Nigerian killed a Christian Igbo man on the ground that he did a blasphemy. And today, the children are continuing with the legacy that their father has left for them. And we are seeing it trending into the 21st century. So something drastic must be done about that. Punish the perpetrators. Then secondly, public figures that are identifying with that should also be sanctioned. I wonder if this thing happened and El Buba made a statement, DSS will not have invited him. The DSS will be very vigilant here, inviting El Buba. Why is it that there was a killing of Christian in Miango and you are talking? There was a killing of a Christian lady in Sokoto, but the commissioner of Bauchi was bold to say that it is in the defense of their faith, and he was not even apologetic. As he said, you can go and hug the transformer. And maybe the network of DSS was busy. They have not have seen it. Put it also, a military officer, the son of ex-IGP, was saying squarely that he was in defense of Deborah. He's serving in the military, in the security outfit. Nothing is done. It is against the ethic of security for you to descend into civilian matters that has border on insecurity and on religion to take side. That clearly shows that you are not professional and neutral. While the president condemns, while the Sultan condemns, while the Muslim lawyers condemns, we appreciate them for that understanding. But we want to tell our northern Muslim brothers that they have a moral duty to sensitize these younger ones that are coming. A lot of them are misinformed about the tenet of the religion. If you see those that understand the religion, those that have the enlightenment about what the religion preaches, they will tell you that categorically this is not the right approach to it. Blasphemy for a non-Muslim has a different approach to blasphemy by a Muslim. You take them seriously. Is that blasphemy recognized by state law? Let me tell you, in our penal code and criminal, there are provisions that we call them offense against religions and religious leaders. We don't normally do that. Christianity is so liberal to my liking that I say Jesus is truly the way. If you can follow that lifestyle. Do you know that as a Christian, you are not supposed to abuse your pastor under the penal code? You are not supposed to criticize your pastor with such a language that will show denigration, disrespect, or disregard. But Christians were the best critics of our pastor. We criticize sermons, we criticize pastors, we abuse pastors, we even wait for them after sermon at the altar. We wait for them in the vestry once they are coming. Why are you preaching in support of this government? Why are you preaching? We attack them. No Christian pastor ever take that. In Islam, you don't need to talk of how MCs are making joke with the name of Jesus Christ. How people are making joke with the name of Jesus Christ. Nobody has ever been sanctioned. That's what maybe I think God has helped Christians to bring peace into the world. But if Christians are now saying that if you mention the name of Papa Roma negligently, there will be war. Or if you mention the name of Baba Adeboye, no, we will not agree. There won't be peace.
There won't be peace.
But I think this one should equally help our Muslim brothers to see from that angle that if all of us have that perception about religion, then I think since we love God, there will not be peace in the world. We'll all kill ourselves to go and meet God there and tell him that this is the life you've given us. But because we don't agree, this one has abused the founder of my religion. This one has abused the founder of my religion. So we're killing ourselves to meet you so that maybe you can forgive us and send us back to world to understand ourselves. If you want to die for your God, you want to kill from the protection of your God, why not allow the God to deal himself with the person? Gideon says, let Jerubbaal contend. Let our Muslim brothers learn. Anybody that do them, let them adopt the Gideon approach. Let Jerubbaal, let Allah contend with those that contend with him.
Thank you very much. Barrister Ihili, taking cue from that, well, will you say that the international body is watching? And what will be the implication if justice actually is not done and seen to be done for Deborah?
It will simply portray Nigeria as a banana republic, that we are showing the world that this is who we are. Because if someone commits murder clearly, and then he can be charged for disturbing public peace in a magistrate court, where he will not be given any serious punishment, then it will portray us to the world that there is nothing serious about this country. And it also goes to show how I've said this many times, that people will simply say, think of what you do for Nigeria, not what Nigeria will do for you. Copying, I think, Abraham Lincoln, who said that Jeff Kennedy, who said that of America, say, think of what America will do for you, and or what you will do for America, and not what America will do for you. But I dare ask, who is Nigeria that we should think of what to do for Nigeria? If you kill an American citizen, whether you are an American or a foreigner, you will see what America will do to you. So the children know that they have a father, and so they have love for the father, and they will think of, what will I do for my father? But for us here, we are like orphans without a father in Nigeria. Someone is killed, Nigeria does not bother. They go and frame a charge that we give the person soft landing, and then you want others to think of what they will do for Nigeria. Say, who is Nigeria? What has Nigeria done for them? Because they are small, Nigeria is big. They should grow just like we grew, knowing that our parents loved us. And so we call them daddy, we call them mommy, and we could, now that we are grown, we can also do something for them.
That's true.
But Nigeria is not showing that. It's very unfortunate. Sometimes there are rays of hope, like what happened, I think, in Zamfara State in 1999, that a similar incident occurred, that someone was killed by Islamic faithfuls who said the man committed blasphemy. And they were bold about it, to even make confessional statements. The other one said he carried a knife when he heard, and he went and confirmed, and they told him, yes, it is true. So he went with the knife. One person hit, and he used the knife to slaughter the person. So they were charged to court for homicide, not for disturbing public peace, and they were sentenced to death. They appealed to the Court of Appeal and lost, and went to Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court said that they are portraying Islamic religion as a primitive religion. If this thing happened, there is a procedure for dealing with it. It should go to the court. Let the court try the person, not for you to go out and kill in this manner.
Into your hands.
And take laws into your hands and kill in this manner. And they were accordingly sentenced in the Supreme Court. The late judgment was read by the present Chief Justice of Nigeria, and he clearly, in clear terms, condemned that act and said they are wrongly representing Islam, and their conviction was confirmed. So these are rays of hope, but like this present one, but unfortunately that was 1999.
Wow.
So it seems we are retrogressing. That happened in 1999. Decisive action was taken. They were tried and sentenced, convicted and sentenced. However, it leaves one wondering, is it because the person involved that time was a Muslim and now is not a Muslim? One wonders whether that is the reasoning behind that one. There was a decisive action, and now they are using kid gloves
to handle the matter.
To handle the whole matter.
Okay, just before we go, Barrister Matthew, what will you say will be the way forward? What would you say would be done to see that justice has actually been done in this matter?
The justice that has to be done in this matter, first, let there be consequences for the perpetrators of evil against Deborah. And also, the state should look at how it will adopt some compensatory measures to alleviate, to assuage the pain of the parents and the families of Deborah. I learned that a philanthropist offered to take them from where they are to Port Harcourt and train them. That's kind-hearted. But the government of Sokoto State, and if possible, our Muslim brothers, should equally show solidarity to that family. That will really tell us that really Nigerians want to live as brothers and sisters in Muslim. Then secondly, there should be a great condemnation, wider condemnation from all people in Nigeria, outside Nigeria, respect to the issue of those in authority supporting this act. The Commissioner of Bauchi's remark was not, is not patriotic. The comment by the son of ex-IGP is not patriotic. Such things should be dealt with. And also, we should know lastly, our Muslim brothers, our Muslim ulamas have a lot to do. These people, to be honest with you, some of them don't know that killing in the name of this religion is a sin, is a crime against the state. They don't know. So they have to equally tell them where their religious duties stop, where the right responsibility of the state starts. There must be boundary between your religious responsibility and duties and then that of the state.
Thank you very much. Barrister Ahili, any last words?
Yes. For me, we should continue to condemn this thing. Even the framing of the charge of disturbance of public peace is condemnable, and I condemn it in strong terms. That is not the charge that should be framed against these people, except if they are saying that their participation was not in relation to the unlawful execution of Deborah, but in the aftermath. If it is the aftermath, then fine, it was disturbance of public peace by burning churches and attacking people and their shops. But if it is in relation with the death of Deborah directly, that is not the right charge. The right charge should be framed. And then finally, we should be vigilant to look at people, know the kind of people, even as election is coming, we know the kind of people we support. This is like lightning that God brought so as for us to see the kind of people that are trying to lead us. When we know them, we support those who are the right persons and not the people who are simply looking for power to get power by all means, so they could go into even supporting evil just for the sake of the bid to acquire political power.
Thank you very much. This is the much we can take on the show this evening. But before we go, we want to condole with the family of our sister Deborah, and we pray for comfort for the entire family and the entire nation at large. While we'll be back next week, same time for the show, we must stay safe and watch our comments, watch where we go, and ensure that we work in line with the principles and the laws of our land. Thank you very much. We'll see you next week.